What is going on, guys? We are going live today. Love to see some people on. This is gonna be exciting. I'm gonna kind of show you a little bit of like my process too. If I can get my hat straight. And I'm gonna talk Draftkings slate breakdown. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Monkey Knife Fight plays that I like tonight for NHL, which I think are kind of soft. And then if you have any questions, guys, about the slate, just feel free to put it in the chat. This is a great time to just kind of connect and see what kind of questions you guys have as you're building. It is a nice big slate. So let's get into the slate here. I'm going to share my screen again. Before I get started, and this, I won't give any other sales pitch, but my only pitch here is if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are super close to 2,000. If not, just hit the like button. If you're already a subscriber, hit that like button. But if you have any questions, just put it in the chat. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to be sharing Fantasy Labs here. They are a great free tool. Here is the Vegas odds line. And what I really like about it is that you can just sort it. So if you go to Bovada or go to Bet365 or DraftKings Sportsbook, you can look through odds and stuff, but implied totals here and lives, and it also shows like what they opened as. So like the Maple Leafs have actually dropped like a tenth of a goal. Not that really matters in this context of the slate, but you can sort. So I really like here sorting. As you can see, the Maple Leafs have a 4.2 implied total against Ottawa. The Capitals come in with the second highest implied total at 3.4. And then Boston 3.3. And I think these three teams from a DFS perspective are going to be the most popular. Not saying that you can't find, I think the Blues too will have some ownership with just how bad the Sharks are on defense. Excuse me. But otherwise, some of these other games are going to be, probably relatively lower scoring. And then you see over here, the biggest money line favorite is clearly the Maple Leafs at almost minus 300. Boston at minus 207, and then it drops off the Blues, Coyotes, and Capitals. So then we go over here to the live over-under, and the only game with a 6.5 total right now is Ottawa and the Maple Leafs, and then a close second would be the Capitals and the Sabres. So any questions about that, just let me know. But that's kind of where I just start my research in terms of deciding what teams I want to target and who I want to attack. So I'm going to now change, trying this out. This is a little bit new here. I'm going to share my DraftKings page, and then we will start building a lineup. And I'm going to go position by position. So feel free to add any questions in the chat. Austin Matthews, I think this slate, there's to me, there's like three clear studs in this slate. Washington 3. Yeah, I think that must be Lars Eller and who else is on Washington 3? Throwing me for a loop here. I'm probably like a GPP stack. That's really nice. Let's see here. Lars Eller, Panic, Connor Sheary. Lars Eller, I think, had like 4 shots on goal last game or more. But okay, let's get into so the three big studs that people are going to be deciding between, obviously Austin Matthews and then Pastrnak and Ovechkin. I wouldn't get, even though Matthews had just a blistering, one-timer last game, like I think Matthews is still the best cash play in my opinion here. The matchup is basically the best. Hogberg is one of the worst goalies in the league. And I think after only putting up 2 goals last game, or what, did they even get an empty netter? I don't remember if maybe they had 3. 2, I think it was 2 to 1. I think it was whatever it was. It was way low scoring than it was supposed to be, right? But Austin Matthews is just consistently going to put up, he only had 2 shots on goal. That might even be the low for the season. He had it a couple other times, but the double-digit floor is just basically there no matter what. He's getting there almost every single slate, and now you have in the best matchup at home. So I think in cash, I think it's really scary to fade somebody like Matthews. I think you can make a case if you're oh, thanks, Jeff. If you're fading Matthews, that you want Pastrnak, which is fine. But then I would definitely, whenever I play Pastrnak, I rarely like to play him on an island. I want to pair him with Bergeron, Marchand, and honestly, I really like pairing him with McAvoy too. So, yeah, Bergeron definitely in play here. If you are playing Pastrnak, I like him. Obviously, the correlation is one of the best in the league. Jack Eichel, it's GPP only for me, too expensive. Barzal is almost always GPP for me. He just doesn't really have any shot floor. Look at the shot floor here, 2, 1, 1, 4. Yeah, he's got goals in some of these games and has, a point per game, basically an assist or a goal. But I don't know that you want to pay $7K for that. Backstrom I talked about on the last puck drop, and it's like a guy I'd never, ever consider in cash. And I don't think that's really going to change tonight unless I'm stacking him with Ovechkin. But sure, 6,800 still seems pretty egregious to me for Backstrom. John Tavares, it's just been so disappointing this season, at least lately, in these smash spots. And I don't know that, I need to probably look more into the analytics. Is it like he really close on high danger chances and it's just not converting, because I know that's happening with like Zibanejad, right? But I don't know. For me, I'd just rather pay for Matthews and get on with it. So Kopitar at 6,600 has been in awesome form lately. I don't really like him as a road dog here, but the guy plays like 20 minutes of ice time. Just always it seems to be part of any goal that actually does happen for LA. So I think he can be considered at 6,600 in GPPs. Sidney Crosby all the way down to 6,400. Threw up a dud last game in a spot that a lot of people really liked. In what was supposed to be like the highest paced game, on that slate, especially after putting up a goal and assist in the game before. But another player for me, honestly, I know he's so talented, but he just doesn't have the floor. He doesn't put the shots on goal. He's rarely ever going to flirt with a 5-shot on goal bonus. So why would I really consider him there? The Kings are fine. I prefer the value on the Kings, and I haven't even looked at Dustin Brown's price. Like I was all over Dustin Brown when he was like low 4K, and now I'm getting on a little bit of a bird walk here. But Dustin Brown's been in insane form. It's a nice little cheap stack you can put together with him and Iafallo. And Iafallo has honestly had a really good season. And he had 0 shots on goal last game, but before that, you have totals of 5, 2, 3. I mean, he's around the puck. He's with Kopitar almost the entire time. So, yeah, let's get back to center here. I know I'm going to be talking longer than I normally do. So, but throw questions in the chat if you have some. Couturier, probably pass. The only other guys here that, Zibanejad, I think it's just going to continue to be hail hake. He's due. And he is. So it's like 5,700 in what I think is a pretty decent matchup. I think he'll be really popular again. Now, if you played NHL DFS in the past, he flirts with like 7K to 8K like almost all season last year. So it's just a matter of time before that's going to come. Eriksson Ek in a matchup I like against Anaheim, has really turned it on this season. I just think, now that they're going to get some more of these guys back tonight, that I think, in general, the Wild will look better. Razlovic, probably pronounced his name wrong, has been kind of stepped up since Dubois left. He's okay at 5,300, but like Malkin at 5,100 is in play, Couturier at 4,900. After that, per usual, it's not great here at the center position. Stahl is fine. Getzlaf, Texier, all those guys are fine. I don't mind them. Charlie Coyle has just been not part of anything good this year. I think he's on the third line too. So, yeah, that's about it for center position. I just don't normally suggest punting at the center position. I just think it's not. When don't I love Mini? Oh, this must be Coy's, but I don't love Mini when they're not playing or when they're playing like half strength. Thoughts on some sort of stack with Barzal? Yeah, I think when I get to the winger position here, I don't know. I'll see what Anders Lee is priced at. I think it's him and Josh Bailey on the top line, but then you don't get Bailey on the power play. So you could stack him with Pulak or Dobson if you are stacking Barzal. So let's get to the winger position. At the top, Pastrnak, Ovechkin, well worth it. I do think this price tag for Marner is a little bit overpriced. I mean, the matchup is great, but he doesn't have as much of a floor as Matthews. And I think if you're going to pay 8,300 for him, I'd prefer just to pay 100 more for Ovechkin or up to Pastrnak. But I definitely think if you want to do a full Toronto stack, you could still use him and Jumbo Joe. CBJ1, I think, is in play. Let me see. I got to remember. I know I retweeted their lines today too. Oh yeah, lining with Atkinson and Roslovic. Yeah, I think that's definitely a play. And let's see what their correlation is on. Atkinson is listed on the second power play, so that'd be the only spot that you'd be losing a little bit of correlation. But I definitely think you can make them work, especially in a matchup that Nashville's power play has just been PK has been so bad. So I think Columbus is fine here at home. Taylor Hall, I just can't pay for. I mean, just come on, man. I don't even know what's going on. At the early in the season, he had a game with like 6 shots on goal, and since then it's just been disappearing. I know Buffalo's struggling, but didn't they have like? I remember one of the guys in our chat said Hutton or Ullmark, one of them had to get like their depth perception fixed or something in their eyes, and I don't know, whatever happened is not working anymore. So Forsberg at 7,100 has had a phenomenal season, a lot of goals. What do we have here? 4 games in a row with double digits. Loves to shoot the puck, so I can definitely get behind him at 7,100. Garland has obviously been one of my favorites all season. Rust as well. Like the shot totals have been just crazy lately. In the last 4 games, he has 24 shots on goal, and look at the ice time too for Rust. It's insane. 21. I never realized how much he actually was on the ice. Like he used to be that guy for me. That was just like, okay, he's playing with Crosby, but I don't really love him, and I'd rather play Gensel and Crosby. But Russ was really cheap. Well, now he's not really cheap, and he's pretty good, and he's playing a ton of ice time. So Russ is definitely in play at 6,700. Tkachuk, obviously, we know is just like a monster. He gets shots on goal. Like look at 7 last game. You just have to hope that even though they're the biggest underdog of the slate, that they have a game like the game before where there was like 11 goals total and not a 2-1 game that they can't score. So Panarin, 6,200 is probably the lowest price tag you're going to see on somebody like him, who has been in much better form than Zibanejad. But Panarin at 6,200 is extremely cheap. Always love Fiala. Cam Atkinson at 5,800. I know I told our Discord channel, like how many times did I have to put him in a core for Showdown? And, Columbus was playing all those weird Showdown slates, and he just continued to struggle. And then now in the last 3 games, he's combined for 70 DK here or something like that. So definitely a player that just is back in form, but we always knew long-term that he was going to be good. Yeah, Fiala, he is the Minnesota GOAT. But now that we lost Koivu, he was the previous GOAT, quote unquote. No, I'm just kidding. No one ever liked Koivu. Way overpaid for him. Evander Kane, pass. Nylander, pass. Arvidsson, good spot, but has been pretty underwhelming. Dustin Brown, I can get behind. Who else do I got down here? Raquel has been really good and really gone overlooked a lot. I think he's had a ton of high danger chances that he just hasn't scored last I checked. So I really like him at home against a Minnesota team. I think there just will be some goals there. Probably my favorite play in this position is going to be targeting some of these cheap St. Louis players. Kyrou has fell off the heater a little bit. He couldn't maintain the insane form, but 4,700 is still fair for him. But I think Hoffman is even a better play at 4,600. I think we double check where he's going to be lined up here tonight. So he will be with Shen and Kyrou, and then on power play, he's going to be on the top power play. So I do like Hoffman quite a bit at 4,600. I think this matchup is, one of the best you're going to get at home against San Jose. So like JVR tonight, I don't really ever love that many Flyers, but I think in a matchup against the Rangers where we saw the Devils just put up, 4 or 5 goals on them, that he's definitely can be in play. When I get down, I think he's cheaper than this. I'm not even down to that range yet, but I definitely think he'll be in play. Farabee, I think, coming off this big game, I think he is expected to be up as well. Where do I got him? Yeah, top line. Yeah, he's going to be on the top line with JVR and Couturier, so that would be honestly a cheap stack. Did I pass JVR already? Oh, yeah, I did. Whoops. Obviously, I wasn't considering him too hard, but I should be because look at the last 3 games where he is also combined for close to 80 DK. So, yeah, JVR is definitely a play. Stack JVR with, thanks. Stack JVR with Farabee and Couturier, and that's a nice little mini stack there. But look to some value here. Jumbo Joe, winger is where you're always going to find like the most value, right? Like his goal, and I don't know if anybody in the chat saw what Joe Thornton tried to do in the game last night. The puck was already like saved by the goalie, right? And he just like took his stick and tried to like just literally move the puck and the goalie's leg into the net. You just have to look it up. Just look up like Joe Thornton and from last night or something. There's probably a video somewhere. I'll put it in the chat. But yeah, JVR, great play. Rangers have been putrid. Yeah, I don't know. Like Rangers just so disappointing. But down here, Jumbo Joe, Dadonov. I still really like him. He threw up a dud last night, of course, but the game environment is still the best on the slate. And, Toronto just still doesn't play that great a defense. And we know even when he was in Florida, Dadonov was really good. Skinner, if he is still on the top line, which I didn't check morning skate for Buffalo because I wasn't really considering any of their higher elite skaters, but it does look like they didn't skate maybe this morning, but in the last game, he still was on the top line. Still hasn't performed really that well, but it's kind of an opportunity cost for somebody like him. Foligno is in play. Greenway, Domi. There's a lot of decent value. Comtois has been great for Anaheim, like amazing. And just in terms of, I think he's still on the third line too, but just creating a ton of high danger chances. Zucker and Kapanen are kind of always just like they're their value. They're skating with Malkin. They're super cheap. Pitlick, another guy that I've been just like kind of on all season, just has been playing a lot of ice time, gets top power play unit. So like Pitlick as well. Where is who I really like? Kako is also probably up here. Troy Terry's been on the top line. Where is Barbashev? Hopefully he didn't get priced up more than I'm expecting him to be. I love him on the top line. 2,600 might be one of my favorite values on the slate, honestly, for at the winger position. Still on the top line with O'Reilly and Perron. 20 minutes ice time last time, 4 shots on goal. He's got, you see that 11 shots on goal in the last 3 games when he's actually had significant ice time here too. So really like Barbashev in just an elite matchup. So I probably would plug in him. Pajot, no, he is fine. Oh, Jeff, is that Skinner on the 4th line now? Myron, I have not talked about him, but he is in great form, and you can definitely play him. I know the one goal that Pajot scored recently was an empty netter, but let me pull him back up here. But yeah, holy cow, he's been insane form too. Yeah, 5 goals in the last 4 games. So yeah, definitely a play at 4,400. Probably one of the better value centers on the slate. So good catch there. Thanks. That's why I like you guys in the chat. Awesome. All right, let's get to the defensive position. John Carlson, 7,100. If I take away, the last 4 games, what was weird with Carlson is I was fading him when Ovi was out because I'm like, oh, their power play just isn't going to be as good, obviously. And that's where he was actually overperforming, or not overperforming, but performing well. But Carlson, I'm probably off here. Roman Josi, 7K, is finally getting back into form in terms of like the shots on goal and the block shot stuff. But still not really like a lock and load for me at 7K. I just think there's too many other good things to pay up for. Brent Burns has just been too up and down lately. I don't know. It's just like, where is the old Brent Burns? Like we see it every once in a while, but he's playing like almost 30 minutes of ice time. It's just whatever. I don't get it. But I'll fade him here. Morgan Riley is in probably the best matchup, but again, somebody that if he does not get a goal or assist has had a really low floor recently. So I think you're maybe overpaying a little bit for correlation at 6,300. Pastrnak on the second line on the left wing lock. Let's take a look. I do have that too, and that is at practice. So that would be a big shift, honestly. I would downgrade Pastrnak because of that, and definitely not stack them. That's a good catch, Alex. I think you want to double check that when they come out for. Oh yes, Jeff. How did I forget a Zuccarello? He was one I just listened to on the radio before I came home. That he will be skating on the top line. So I do like him, Zuccarello. Alex, your question, Pastrnak. It does look like, based on practice this morning, he was on the second line with Richie. So I think you could honestly pair him with Richie. I think Richie's still pretty cheap, but I think that would take me off of Pastrnak in any type of cash games. I probably would just stack Ovi and Matthews, or choosing between Ovi and Matthews, or play both of them. Seth Jones, has actually maintained really good form even after Werenski came back. I guess besides the last game, I know 2 of these games Werenski was out, and then 2 of these games he was back. But finally seeing the Perfields come back for Seth Jones is really nice, and you can stack him with that top power play unit. So I don't want to get too far past some of these guys I like. Like Chychrun, 5,800 has been a cash cow lately. Getting the block shot on bonus in 3 of the last 4 games is just super active. So I really like Chychrun at 5,800. I liked him more when he was cheaper, honestly, obviously, because I just thought he was underpriced. But McAvoy at 5,600, somebody that I've talked about and Cord, quite a few times in as well in our chat. He's finally, without Torrey Krug there, getting the top power play run. And, look at the block shots, 3, 5, 3, 3, 5,600. And then you're getting correlation to one of the best power play units in the entire league. Yes, Falk, I love. Falk is going to be one of the guys that I target too down here at 5,100. You just didn't let me get to him yet. But there is a great range right there. Falk has honestly had an awesome season. Like, disregard these last 2 games and Parayko being out. Like, his minutes on ice will definitely stay around this. But he was phenomenal for Carolina when he got the run, and I really like him here. Yes, I do have to talk about Matt Dumba a little bit because I think I don't have to look. Is Spurgeon back tonight? Yeah, he is back. So maybe downgrade him a little bit, but Brodin is still out. But I think Dumba's in play. Pulak has been really good lately. Again, just like a cash cow kind of guy, like gets the block shots, gets the shots on goal. If he gets an assist, then you're like really happy. Torrey Krug, no, don't want him. Letang, still way too cheap in my opinion. 4,900. Look at the time on ice. He's going to get there. The matchup is not like amazing with the Islanders, but I think he's somebody that you can still just like, it's Chris Letang and he's 4,900. So I think you definitely can consider playing him there. Shattenkirk is okay. Gosh, there's a lot of guys out. Fabro, I know I've talked about him a little bit more when he was like sub 4K, but he is definitely putting himself in really good offensive positions. And I think I mentioned this on one of the other things. It's like just Nashville defensemen just naturally are really aggressive in blocking shots and shots on goal, like Ryan Ellis and Roman Josi. So, and Matthias Ekholm honestly fell in that category as well. Ferrero been a popular value for a lot of people recently, just due to the time on ice, and especially due to Erik Karlsson being out. So I think you can definitely still consider him at 4,100. Let's see. And I'm checking kind of back and forth if you guys have questions. So continue to throw stuff in the chat. Ty Smith, I really like. He's finally, they're kind of unleashing him for the Devils. He saw 23 minutes of ice time last time. He's on the top power play unit. He's going to be really good in the future. Young stud for them. So I really like him. The matchup is the only thing that is like, not that great. But other than that, I really like him. Justin Schultz is finally like depressed, so don't pay for him anymore. I just don't think he's worth it anymore. When he was getting those games where he had, what was it, like 25 minutes of ice time for a little while there, but I don't really like him here. Gustafsson is fine. Brody's fine. PK Subban is just dropping like a fly. Who else do we got here? Cam Fowler. I always think is just like too cheap. Kale Clegg, probably pronounces wrong. Seeing a lot of ice time, but just not a ton of production. P.O. Joseph, I don't know what happened to his ice time. Yeah, it went down the stinker. So fade him. Here's the one I like probably the most, Keandre Miller. Again, not great the last couple games, but one of the best up-and-coming defensemen in the league. Going to get, yeah, Myron, I think that's wearing on all of us. It almost feels like the playoffs, which are fine in terms of DFS, but you're like researching and they're playing the same teams over and over again. Yeah, it does get a little bit old. But Keandre Miller at 3,100 is fine. Mayfield is always a guy that I don't mind targeting here for the Islanders at 2,600. He was 2,600. He's 3,200 here. So I think, Vatanen, is he back tonight? Expected to make his debut, so maybe check to see where he's skating. But 2,900 is going to be, if he gets this back to normal role, then he's going to be skating, a ton of ice time. So Miller game time decision. Oh, good. Are you talking about Keandre? Will return the lineup for the Thursday night game. It looks like. Who else we got here? Any other? Gavrikov has been decent, getting a decent amount of ice time, 2,600. He's definitely been paying off that price tag, doubling that price. Probably missing some other guys here. But that's where I'll end for now in terms of that. Do you guys have any other questions about those? I'm not going to talk about goalie right now, but I do want to talk about a little bit about Monkey Knife Fight here. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to add, if you've never played Monkey Knife Fight, for NHL, there's this really kind of fun format to it. It's called Putting Up Points. And what you can do is you can go to so if you're new to Monkey Knife Fight anyway, just reach out to me and I can get you a code that can get you some free money and some free stuff here at FSI. But if you go to the all day and you click into here, so you have all these props, right? Or these plays. If you go to Putting Up Points, you can pick 3 guys from any game. And if they put up 3 points, so like 2 assists and a goal or whatever, combined between the 3 guys, you can do 1.5 your money. So like on this slate, I'm a little bit off of Pastrnak now that he's off that, but hypothetically, I would go Matthews, Ovechkin, and Pastrnak. I would maybe change that now just based on some of that news. So if you think that they will exceed 3 points, so Matthews gets 2, Ovechkin gets a goal, Pastrnak does nothing, it hits. Okay, you turn 250 to 375. If you think they can get 4, you can get 2 times your money. If you think they can combine for 5, then you can get 3 times your money. And I think when you want to go for that 3x is when you want to correlate. So you might want to use Matthews, Marner, and Ovechkin. So you can't use 3 guys from the same team, but I do think that is a play. Alex, I always prefer Bergeron over Marchand in cash, just because I think he's got a better floor. He's not as goal and assist dependent, but I think he can definitely still get there. Some other plays that I like, let's see if they're still there. I haven't checked since the last time I looked. In the Minnesota game, I think these are some really low lines. Hampus Lindholm and Matthew Dumba, 3.5 and 4.5. That means that if Hampus Lindholm combines for 2 blocks and 1 shot on goal, he covers it. A block or a shot on goal is worth 1. Same with Dumba. And then if they get an assist is worth 2. They hardly need anything, right? So I think those lines are really low. I think Raquel is really low here. Parisi is fairly low. And then on here, Shattenkirk and Eriksson, I think are all really low. So, I mean, these guys are just getting no love in a game that I still think has some DFS value. And then here, I think Blackwood, goes under in saves here. I don't think he goes over 30. And I think Marchand definitely gets an assist in this game. So there is a lot of really cool format in Monkey Knife Fight for NHL. So if you're looking for another avenue to play some NHL DFS, that would be the route I would go. So any final questions? Otherwise, I'm going to sign off and get my core plays up for the premium subscribers here at NHL at FSIDFS.com. But I appreciate everybody listening. Love the chat. Love the questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you do really well tonight. So All right. See you later.